All right, class. As promised, we're going to go over what was sort of planned for this class, so this way we can keep the ball rolling. Mainly, I'm going to focus on what was going to be assigned on Tuesday evening because that needs to keep moving forward. So we're on track for the next essay, and also providing enough time for me to give you feedback on our assignments. So I combined week 9, which was this week, and then week 9, we're going to work out of this one for this week. So week 8 and 9 are combined, and let's go ahead into the folder. So the main things I want you to focus on before our class next Tuesday is the instructions to essay number 2 and the outline and the annotated bibliography. So something very similar to what we did for the last essay, only this one's going to focus more on research because this is a research paper. So I'm going to go into essay number 2 first, sort of go over the instructions. So we've talked about this question of, is there a difference between people who are privileged, who are wealthy, and the rest of us? And so that's the question we're going to take a look at for this particular essay. And we're going to use a compare-contrast mode for that. So we're going to format the essay as a compare and contrast essay. So you will be writing a 1,000 to 1,200 word essay. You need a strong thesis statement, minimum of 3 detailed body paragraphs. You will need 5 academic or credible sources. Use the library databases. There is a tab in our course called Research Assistance. It has a contact for a librarian. You can reach out to her as well and help. You will need MLA formatting, in document design, in-text citations, and full citations. And below I have the rubric on which you will be graded on for this next essay. It is a research essay. So we're going to take a look at Queen of Versailles. And remember, this is not like a book report on the Queen of Versailles. This is just a way to kind of take a look at how characteristics of wealthy people, of privileged people, may be a little bit different than our own. So we're going to look at those characteristics and compare the 2 different viewpoints. Another approach you could take on this would be to center on 2 individuals who are wealthy and compare and contrast how they've approached wealth and privilege. Lastly, you could argue money doesn't change people at all. You can go completely against this idea of rich people are different. No, they're not. Those people may have already had those kind of characteristics already. But the center of your argument is on wealth and privilege and the idea of behavioral change. And this should be presented in a clear compare-contrast method. So you could take different characteristics, selfishness, approach to wealth, how they received wealth, and you could take those characteristics and compare and contrast them towards people who do not have money. If you were to take the route where you would compare 2 individuals, you could take 2 wealthy individuals and see how they've approached wealth. You could look at, let's say, Bill Gates versus Donald Trump. Both are very wealthy individuals, but have used that wealth in different ways. And you could find 3 different points of similarity between the 3 and show the differences and similarities between them. So that's one approach. And you can do that with any sort of wealthy individual, or even 2 people who have commonalities, but one was from a privileged background and one was not. And create that compare-contrast of how wealth can change our outlooks, or wealth can change our behaviors, or how it may or may not have any approach to it. So that's the concept for essay number 2, and we will continue to go discuss this in person as well in our next class. So our homework for this week is the outline and the annotated bibliography. That'll be due Tuesday night's class at midnight on e-learning. Basically, let's go ahead and download that. Let me show a quick look. In the instructions, I've also added a link to EBSCOhost. You will need your credentials to log on, but it is one of the databases for the library, and it'll provide you some really good resources. Okay. There we go. All right, so here is our annotated bibliography. Once again, we're addressing the question, does money, wealth, privilege, or privilege change a person's behavior? Compare and contrast personality traits between these two viewpoints. Are the wealthy different than us? Compare and contrast the different perspectives of wealthy individuals with a different socioeconomic class. You can use the materials that I've posted in the course. You can use the film, but remember, it's not a book report on the Queen of Versailles. We're just using that as a window into this lifestyle. The outline, I've given a pretty detailed outline of what I want it to look like. So the first thing will be your thesis statement, a full single sentence. Your main point, you'll have 3 main points for your argument. And then under each main point, I'd like one source. I want you to find at least one source for each main point. So you'll have the citation, and then you'll have the supporting annotation. Remember that 2-paragraph format, summary, and purpose. So citation, annotation, 2 paragraphs, citation, annotation, 2 paragraphs, and that's for each section. You can copy and paste this into your own Word doc. That may be easier to fulfill this formatting. And this is the point breakdown. So the quality of research is the big part. That's going to be 60 points. Organization, thesis statement, quality of the annotations, and then MLA citations. So that is how you'll be graded. And this is due Tuesday at midnight during our next class. All right. And that's uploaded to e-learning. To help you with that, since we didn't have a chance to discuss the topic a little more, I've added a few resources in our lesson materials. Now, I will go back over these and briefly discuss some of these articles in class next week, but this may help you a lot with prepping for this outline. So I have a presentation on compare contrast, some basic formatting for a compare contrast essay, and a video on does money make you mean? Some differences and some studies that were done here. And then also a couple articles on the differences between socioeconomic classes. So once again, I'm giving you the assignment sheet for our next essay. That is just an assignment sheet. You'll have a link available to you to submit on the 5th of November when it's actually due, but this gives you an idea, which helps you do this assignment, which is due next week at midnight on Tuesday, our class night. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I look forward to seeing you next week.